I did find it interesting that when we got to our final shortlist, that they all had timber involved, which I think is an inherently sustainable material, which I think is sort of an undercurrent of the entire discussion. And at the end of the day, I think it came down to buildings that actually that have a lifespan or have a extended lifespan versus pavilions, which are slightly more temporary. I think that was an interesting discussion.
I think that the shortlist was actually very, very strong as a set of architectural buildings. I think that the pavilions are absolutely stunning in their architecture. I think the difficulty I think that we all faced was the difference between an integration of engineering beyond the structure into the actual scheme as a whole. And I think that's why we've ended up choosing a building rather than a sculptural form.
I think that the shortlist was fantastic. The 6 buildings on the shortlist were all worthy winners in their own right, from the heavyweight, if you like, engineering of the Marina Bay Sands Resort to the incredible delicacy of the Orange Crush building, and the pure beauty, the sublime beauty of the Shanghai Pavilion. But I think the winner stood out to me because they point the way to the future, where construction goes more towards manufacturing, and timber being an appropriate material which is easy to machine, and a really clever strategy, I think, from the engineers as to how to put it together.
I think for me, what was most encouraging by all of the entrants, but in particular for the last 6 that we saw, is the demonstration of the engineer's ability to have adapted to these problems and solve these problems in sort of delicate and elegant ways, which ultimately is an engineer's role. Those being parameters set more about environmental parameters, and also that of form and materials and production systems. And they all very carefully and very cleverly demonstrate ways in which the engineer has stepped up to the plate and done exactly that. So from that level, as an engineering board, they all deserve a huge amount of merit.
Yeah, I think to echo those comments, all of these projects kind of celebrate not only the integration of engineering with architecture, which is of course what we're looking at today, but also how that manifests itself through the design and construction process. And to be truly successful, it needs to follow that all the way through, from concept through to build. And I think that's the interesting thing that we've particularly seen today, and we've seen it done successfully.